Hello everyone. Today I'm making some lunch for just me. The reason why it's just for me is because I'm using some leftover pulled pork. My wife doesn't eat pork, and so therefore I'm making it just for me. I decided I wanted to make something with some puff pastry using the items you see in the background and with some onions and garlic and our puff pastry. Now, if you're going to make this, you could use any meat that you want. Ground beef, ground chicken, sliced steak from leftovers, pulled chicken from rotisserie chicken you might have had the night before. It doesn't matter. I'm making this just for me, and I'm using pulled pork. So let's see what we come up with, okay? Okay, our next step is that we're going to saute some onions and some minced garlic and a little bit of olive oil until they're about done. Then we're going to add our pork. Now our pork is already cooked, so we just want to saute it a little bit and incorporate these flavors. So in goes our pork. To that I will add a splash of Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to add a splash of your favorite barbecue sauce. Mine is French's Cattleman's Memphis Sweet, but you can use whichever one you want. I had to buy that online, by the way. It's hard to find in the stores. We're also going to add in a couple tablespoons of ricotta cheese. I'm using this brand. You can use whichever one you want. Now on to our next step. Again, we don't have to cook this thoroughly. The meat was already cooked, so we just need to incorporate the flavors there. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of black pepper at this point. Actually, this is rainbow peppercorns. Looked good, so I bought it. Now we can turn off our meat, and we want the meat to completely cool. And if you have it too liquidy, which I don't at this point, but if you have it too liquidy, drain some of the liquid out of it. You want this to be as dry as possible, and you want it to be cool all the way down to room temperature. Like I said before, if you have it too runny, put it in a colander like I've done here. Put your meat mixture in a colander and allow it to drain a little bit. I doubt mine will drain. It's not all that liquidy, but you want this to cool. The reason for that is when you put it on the puff pastry, you don't want it to be hot. The puff pastry could get soggy while it's cooking. So do this while it is cooling, allow it to drain. Okay, next step. Our meat has cooled down to room temperature, and we're now going to add it to our puff pastry. Now that it's added to our puff pastry, remember, save this, which is what came out of the meat as we allowed it to drain, and I'll get to that later as to what we're going to do with it. So what we want to do now is roll up our puff pastry with the meat. Take your time with this process. You don't want to tear the puff pastry. We now want to cut it into some pinwheels. You want to lay out your cut pieces evenly on a piece of parchment paper, and they don't have to look neat. They're going to puff up and they're going to be delicious. Now at this point I will sprinkle on a little bit of extra seasoning. That's up to you. I'm going to use an assortment of different things. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of onion, salt, that kind of thing. At this point you can finish it off with a little bit of egg wash. I'm going to use melted butter. Either one will work. At this point we're going to put these in the oven, a preheated oven at 400 for about 20 minutes. There they are, ready to go into the oven. The oven has been preheated to 400. And we're going to cook that for about 20 minutes. Okay, while we're waiting for our puff pastry to cook, we're going to make a little bit of dipping sauce. I have some sour cream, some black pepper, fresh cracked black pepper, some dried chives, that looks about right, and I found this at Trader Joe's. It's kind of an all-purpose seasoning. We're going to put a little bit of that in there. Now to top this off, guess what we're going to put in it? That's right, our drippings from the meat. About that much. The rest you can throw away. Let's blend this. If it's a little too watery, you can just add a little more sour cream. Or you can even add in a spoonful of mayonnaise. And I think that's what I'm going to do, put in a little bit of mayonnaise. Here's a big tablespoon of mayonnaise. And just for fun, I decided to add about a teaspoon or so of yellow mustard. That'll give it a little zing, I think. You're welcome to use any kind of dipping sauce you want. Make your own just like I did. Make your own concoction. Doesn't matter. Just have something fun. Make sure you refrigerate it so it's nice and cold. Okay, next, our dipping sauce is ready. I decided to spice it up a little bit. I've added some red pepper flakes and a few splashes of hot sauce. This is optional, of course. It's going to give my dipping sauce a little bit of a bite. So, lunch is ready. I have my meat pinwheels, my homemade dipping sauce, and a little fresh salad with grapes, tomatoes, and some mandarin oranges. The dressing I used was olive oil, apple cider vinegar, salt and pepper, and a little bit of balsamic reduction. And that'll do it. Enjoy, people, and goodbye.